Hello. I think you're muted still.
You are correct.
There you are. Awesome.
Hi, how are you doing?
Morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I should say good evening.
Yeah, is it evening where you are?
It's 5:30.
5:30.
It's already dark outside. I hope that the living room is well lit enough.
Yeah, it looks fine. Where are you located?
Israel.
In Israel. Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, welcome. We'll just cover a couple of housekeeping things to start. I was looking on your website. I don't see, do you have social media links that you'd like us to share this out on, like an Instagram, Facebook?
Okay, so the status is this. I have a new website that is in development at PR4FOR which currently is a landing page for a free download, top 10 PR pro tips for planning the perfect party. So that if somebody wants to join the PR parenting community, they can do that, also get the free download, and then get all the updates regarding the book. And now the program that will start in May, which is a new thing.
Okay.
Secondly, just to let you know, I've been in the PR business for 30 years. And I have a company called Must Have Communications, and primarily I do medical PR, and that's at mhc-pr.com. That is also being updated. It should have been updated about maybe a year or two ago, but then when I decided to write the book, which you're aware of, I thought, well, let's just update it once.
Yeah.
So here we are. So that's
what
progress.
That clears up. I was going like, are we medical PR? Are we parenting PR? Now I'm clear. Got it.
Right.
Awesome.
It's ultimately a transition that I'm creating a new movement, the PR parenting movement. The book is the tool for that. And the idea is for this to start with the current generation of working mom and any interested dad to parent easier, and then to pay it forward. So hopefully this will be generational. So it starts with us. And then hopefully, well, I'll speak for myself when I'm long gone, it will continue on from generation to generation.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. Okay. So are you originally from Israel?
No.
Okay, awesome. All right.
No,
Can't
I'm
wait
from
to hear how you
Pennsylvania.
can't wait to hear how you ended up there. Okay. So there are can you go ahead and send me, or where can I find the links for your social media? Or are they on the website already?
Nothing is up yet. Everything is at the end of January. They told me I had to wait till after New Year's, and then they would start working on it. So
so we don't have social media links yet.
We do. We have, well, Instagram is at Marjie Hadad.
Oh, okay.
And TikTok is at PR Mama 18. And I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn. All you have to do is plug in Marjie Hadad and you'll find me. But I can email you all the coordinates if you'd like.
That would be perfect. Yeah. Well, whenever your episode launches, which will be April 5th, which is pretty great timing for your book, I think.
My book launches on April 4th.
There you go. Day after the book launch. That's when your episode will launch. It'll be on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, all YouTube, all of those places. So I just want to make sure we have the right links for that, especially for that day. And my team will post a collab reel, like a collaborative reel from both of our accounts. If that's okay with you, we'll tag you in it and post that reel together.
Let's do it, Amy. You're
right.
A pro. I'm just going to follow your lead because I know you know exactly what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I'm very interested. So we'll get started in just a second. I'm really interested. I would love to cover just kind of who you are as a person, what brought you into the PR world, when you made the shift to your own business versus working for someone else. I'm personally interested in your medical background because I'm a registered nurse and have been for 20 plus years. I don't work in that field anymore, but I maintain my licensure just because medical people are weird like that. And and so just kind of like that whole, then get into the parenting mom in business ownership piece and like your dream for the book and why you wrote it and all of that. Sound good?
Thank you. Sounds great.
Okay. And then just in case we have time, I almost doubt we will, but is there any kind of a nonprofit that you're especially associated with or passionate about?
The short answer is not a specific nonprofit. What I try to do each day, and this is how I was brought up, is to do something nice for somebody each day. And then if I can help, then I do help, whether it's something really small or it's something really big. And whether it's for a family member or a friend or just some stranger in the street that I see and say that person needs help, so you go and you help them out, that kind of a thing. So I try to do that on a daily basis and not something structural.
Okay. And the last thing I'll ask you for, I'm so proud of these. I didn't even know these existed. So I finally got my international stamps because I've had more and more international guests lately. And I was like, my stamps aren't going to get my archaic handwritten thank you card to them. So do you have a mailing address that I can send a thank you card to afterward?
Oh, you're very kind. I'll be glad to send it to you by email as well.
Okay,
I'm technically outside of the Jerusalem area.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll just get started. Easy conversation. If we mess up, flub up, everything's edited. So no worries. We'll just play like Anchorman and blah, blah, blah. Yes,
is it possible for this to air on April 4th?
I can ask my team. Typically, we launch new episodes every Wednesday. So that's why it's the 5th. Yeah.
Okay.
Something to do with the algorithm. They say that's when the best time to launch new episodes is. We get more traction on that day. So I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. Asked and answered. Gotcha.
Yeah. I just do what they say. They're the experts. I could do nothing without them. So, all right. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Queen's Lead podcast. Today we have Marjie Hadad. She is coming to us live from Israel. Welcome, Marjorie.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and hello to everybody out there.
Hello. So tell us who Marjie is.
Who is Marjie? I've been asking myself that question for years.
Haven't we all?
Indeed. Well, let's see. I would have to say, first and foremost, I am the proud mother of 3 grown children now, 25, soon to be 23, and just recently 18.
Wow.
And so I've been a working mom for over 25 years now. And at the core of it, I am a global PR expert. Been doing this for decades, and my specialty is medical PR. And I work with all different types of companies that are creating medical advancements that are going to improve healthcare, whether it's a medical device, a pharmaceutical. I have special subspecialties in cell therapy and in diabetes.
Nice.
And when I'm not doing that in my spare time,
all that spare time,
yes, I wrote a book called The Power of PR Parenting: How to Raise Confident, Resilient, and Successful Children Using Public Relations Strategies. And the reason why I wrote this book was because I was sitting with one of my daughters, and she was telling me about a friend of hers who had recently gotten married. And this friend was very concerned she wouldn't be able to balance becoming a mother and pursuing her academic and professional ambitions. And she looked at her friend and she said, you know, hey, my mom's been doing this for 25 years. Of course you can. Mom, you've made mistakes, but overall, I think you got it right. So this is what you should do. You should write a book to help the next generation of working moms to have it easier when they're parenting. And Amy, I thought, all right, well, that's all well and good, but what on earth did I do? What did I do right? And by the way, can I have that in writing?
Right?
So
yeah, no kidding, right? Sometimes when trying to explain to someone how you got from point A to point B, you're like, I don't even know.
It was really crazy. And I was thinking about it and I thought, well, what did I do? And then it occurred to me that I had applied my professional skills as a public relations executive to bringing up my kids.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, there it is. And then I thought, well, has anybody else documented such a thing? And it turns out, no, this is the first time PR is being linked with parenting. Nice. So I consulted with somebody who knows about how to write a book because, you know, as PR and marketing people, we write everything under the sun and everything has its own formula, but I didn't know the formula for writing a book. So I went to Thought Leader Academy and they hooked me up with a wonderful developmental editor. And I spoke with a couple of real working moms of kids, anywhere between 4 and 12, because from the start, I didn't just want to write a book that says, okay, here's what I did. I wanted to answer substantive questions of how, what do you want to know how to handle? What are your questions? And I'll use this book to answer your questions.
Yeah. Give the people what they need, what they want.
From the start, this is about helping out. This is not about me. This is about helping the next generation of working moms to benefit from, look, hindsight's 2020. You know that expression, if I knew then what I know now. Okay, so I want to give y'all what I know now, but you know what I mean.
Of course. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your history in corporate, coming up in the PR world, and then you eventually opened your own PR firm, correct?
Yes, I started off as a television journalist. Then I became an agent in the modeling industry.
Nice.
Then, very interestingly, I became a public relations person. I was the spokesperson for the Israeli government at the New England consulate from 93 to 95. And that was when, during the Oslo Accords. I don't know if you remember the handshake on the White House lawn with President Clinton and Prime Minister Rabin and Foreign Minister Perez and the president of the PA, Yasser Arafat. So that was my very first job after I started.
Incredible.
That was my first PR job. And then fast forward, I moved to Israel a couple of years later. I was invited to work in the policy planning department, writing speeches and background papers for the bilateral tracks for the Oslo Accords. And a little while later, I got married. I had my first child, and then I went into commercial public relations.
Wow. What a journey.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And I was with an agency for multiple years, and then eventually I went out on my own. And so I've been on my own since my second child was born. So we're talking around 22 years. And along the years, I mean, I've done everything in public relations, working with the big agency. I was the director of international media. So I worked, whatever was a global story fell on my desk. So people, places, things, governments, motorcycles, you name it. So like Moto Guzzi, I don't know if you remember the Italian motorcycle company, but that was one of the clients back in the day.
Oh, cool.
So, and I have a Moto Guzzi jacket because that account worked out really, really well. So the chairman arranged for a jacket for me, which is in the closet.
How cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun. And I do let my kids borrow it. My son looks absolutely fabulous in it.
Yeah, I'm thinking my 19-year-old son would just die to see that. That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's a really fun thing. It's a really fun thing. So then I started on my own after number 2 came around, and that's when I got into medical PR. And I kind of slipped into it because we had a friend of the family who was ill, and I was researching clinical trials because Israel's really the land of the clinical trial. Startup nation, and med tech is one of its foremost things. So I figured if it's happening, and it's probably happening here. So along with my research, I started talking with this one CEO, and we got on very nicely. And he said, we need PR. Would you be interested? And that's how I got into medical PR. No formal background in the sciences, but I do understand it. Interestingly enough, when I listen to a scientist talk on a very, very high level, and then I say to him, so what you're trying to say, and then I translate it into what I call Science 101.
Yeah.
And then in a media training, I teach them how to deliver very sophisticated concepts in very simple terms and in sound bites, so that people like us, well, you're actually a medical professional, but so that the average person can understand and absorb it the first time it's heard.
Yeah, the more complicated the concept, the more simple we need to make it for the layperson, for sure.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Regardless of
Absolutely.
industry. Yeah. I
Well,
love
you can
that.
have the most brilliant idea, Amy, but if nobody understands what you're saying, then it's completely lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it true? Would you say, I mean, people get up all the time to give these 10-minute pitches to like a Shark Tank or something. You don't have 10 minutes, honey. You got 60 seconds to get them eyebrows raised, and they better understand what it is you're saying. Because if they don't understand, you confused, they're lost.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So we leave the high science at home and we bring science 101. And the good news is I work with some absolutely amazingly talented people, and they learn lightning fast. So after a couple of trainings, they are ready to go, and it sticks. I've seen it stick. Like 6 months later, there might be something coming in, and I may not have had time to media train them for that particular opportunity because of timing. And we'll be walking down the hallway and I'll whisper something into their ear and they'll just literally tell me what I want to hear. And I'm like, okay, check. They got it. They're good.
You get it now. Yay.
Oh, no, wonderful. Just wonderfully talented people here. And I'm really fortunate to be able to work with the best and the brightest and people who are really changing the world medically and advancing science. And it's very excited to see what's coming around the corner.
Incredible. Wow. What a journey. I can't even imagine what that looked like, making that shift back then with young kids. Would you like to tell us a little bit about like, what were some of the struggles you had between, working for someone else and developing your own concept and moving forward with that?
Well, we all know that when we work for somebody else, we have to go according to their model.
Yeah.
And we have to be respectful of that model and do that best that we can to fit in within that structure. And then when I ultimately went on my own, then it was up to me to create the structure. And I've been doing this for 22 years. So I actually love making my own time, and I'm very organized and dedicated. So, and look, we're women, so we multitask. We can do a couple things at the same time.
Yeah.
As you're making your coffee warming up your coffee in the microwave, you go and check what's on the email, then you come back when you hear and then you continue on with your day, right?
Yes. Constantly a million things, but getting it to do, what I heard was fitting in to their concept and then making your own concept. I think a lot of our listeners are going, I'm no longer fitting in. I know that my values are not aligned with this corporation, this company, and they're going, I can do this better. I can do this my way and live my life the way I want to live it and do my business the way I want to do it.
Yes, ma'am. You said it beautifully.
Yes,
absolutely. I really, from my perspective in public relations, you're working 24/7 as it is. If you're going to work 24/7, you may as well do it on your own terms.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
I get so many questions.
Mom.
Yeah. About that balance, that life. Like, what is my balance? Well, how much time do I spend with my family? How much time do I spend on my business? Honey, you don't. There is no balance. This is your life now. All of it happens at all times, right? It is a 24/7 life.
It is a 24/7 life, but I'll tell you what's kind of fun about it. And I would like to argue the opposite of a commonly accepted philosophy. We were taught to leave the job at the office, to separate, and then come home and just be with the family. I say no. I say what makes you you and what makes you special are those professional skills that you use every single day at the office. So I say leave all the pressure from the office, but take those skills that you have, take that professional superpowers that you have, and bring them home and use them to help your children to be the best that they can be.
That's it. And here's our segue into the book. So your daughter's friend says, help us out, like give us some direction. You are an expert at raising these adult kids now with obvious excellence in your professional skills. Tell us about that book and some of the concepts that you're sharing with the world with it.
Absolutely, with absolute pleasure. First of all, it's publishing on April 4th. So when this podcast airs, it is already out. So you can go to Amazon and you can get your copy.
It is
of
hot
the
off the
power
press
of
yesterday.
it is.
Yesterday. Go
Woo,
and go
yesterday.
find it right now on Amazon.
It's called The Power of PR Parenting. Again, how to raise confident, resilient, and successful children using public relations strategies. It comes with a free workbook so that each chapter, again, answers real working mom questions. And you'll hear about the stories, personal and professional, of how I use these very strategies to raise my own kids. Then I walk you through step by step exactly what I did. And then there's exercises so that you can do the same thing, but based on your specific situation. Because one thing we know for sure, there's certain things that are universal, but there's certain things that need to be tailored according to your special version of it. So I would like every parent who reads this book, or anybody who works with kids who reads this book, to walk away with a real solid action plan, with an idea of a new approach, a new way of thinking, and something tangible in their hands so they go, okay, I'm going to try this, and this is how I'm going to handle it this time. And they're actually prepared.
Yes.
So that's one of the goals of the book, is to give you a real action plan. And it's the earliest story is dropping my son off at the kindergarten, and a PR practice I used to get over the separation anxiety of walking out the door when I dropped my tiny little baby off at kindergarten or nursery school. He was 6 months old.
Yeah.
And my heart panged and I felt horrible and I didn't want to leave and he was crying. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I used the PR technique to calm myself down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the way up to being a teenager and dealing with all the nonsense that's out there today, and self-esteem and resilience, because we don't always succeed, and how to deal with successes and failures with grace and grit, and how to be part of the solution rather than all those problems that we read about in the news every day. So these are all the things that are, more or less that are covered. So it runs the gamut of the age group. And these were tried and tested on my own kids. Now, I want to make a statement here. Amy, I am not a psychologist, and I am not a parenting expert. I'm a public relations expert that used this new approach successfully on my 3 children. It worked for me. I want to show you what I did with the hope that it works for all the readers and all the working moms and all the interested dads out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us some of those. What were those as you started asking these young mothers? My kids haven't been really little in a long time. Mine are closer to your kids' age. Our oldest is 28. Then we have 25, 22, 19, and 14. And 3 grandchildren from the oldest.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So tell me what those questions, what are these young mothers asking? What are they needing help through? What were the most commonly asked that you answered for them?
They wanted to know how to deal with bullies, whether they're online or at school, whether they're kids or whether they're actually teachers, because teachers are known to bully too, or adults with authority.
Oh,
they wanted
yes.
to know something as simple as how do you get your kid to be willing to give up their pacifier without a major drama at home? They want to know, how do you build self-love and resilience using public relations skills? Because sometimes confidence is a really hard thing to instill in your child, especially when it's hard to grow up. And it's challenging, and especially today. I mean, back in the old days, Amy, you could go to school, go home, and I didn't have social media when I was growing up, and I guess you didn't either. And then today, it's all about, everyone's glued to their phone. So you know who's been invited, and you know who hasn't been invited based on the pictures.
Yeah.
So there's lots of stinging going on. And as parents, we can use certain practices to help raise our children into the sunshine, give them the self-esteem to take control of their own day and to control their own destiny, and not let anybody decide for them what's going to be for them.
So tell us about, now I'm in marketing and we regularly put out press releases, which is not the same as public relations by any means. So tell us some of those core public relations concepts that maybe the guests might be completely unfamiliar with, and how we can relate that back. Give us some teasers maybe from the book and, on those
Absolutely.
concepts themselves.
That's fun. That's really fun. Okay, so public relations, to your point, is a common denominator with lots of professions. So if you don't know anything about PR, you're going to learn something completely new.
All right, bring it.
You're in sales, marketing, PR, media, what have you. This is going to be a new approach to use for your existing skills. For example, copywriting. We all do it. Writing skills are very important. And it's something that requires practice in order to advance your skill set. I say, let's begin in the very early stages. And let's take very natural rites of passage to start teaching the kids how to write. So if you have a natural rite of passage, then it becomes a tool to get the kid to go from point A to point B so that they can successfully do what they want to achieve, right? So now think about it. What happens in first grade biologically?
First grade, you start losing your teeth.
Yes. Oh, you are smart. Well done. That is really well done.
I'm like, what was the most traumatic thing that happened to me in the first grade? I don't My teeth started falling out, right?
Right, exactly. So what do you do when your tooth falls out? What's the traditional rite of passage when that happens? What did you do?
You put it under your pillow and you wait for the tooth fairy. You get a little
Okay.
money.
Correct. Okay, let's take that an extra step. I asked my children to write a letter to the tooth fairy with a request.
Oh, okay.
Because in first grade, not only do you lose your teeth, but you're also starting to learn how to write. Because in kindergarten, you got your letters down, got your ABCs down. In first grade, they start to teach you how to put a sentence together, sentence structure.
Mm-hmm.
So I use that as an opportunity to teach my kids writing skills. And I would help them with content if they wanted, and they would write it down. And then I would sit next to them after they wrote their draft. And in a very soft color, never red, because red just is fire engine angry.
Yes. Mark all over that paper.
Yeah.
I had them teachers.
Yeah. That I always hated when I got back any kind of anything with red marks. It just really upset me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I got something with yellow or pink or green, it never really bothered me. I was just looking for the changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I would edit with my kids and I would say, this is one way to do it. Now here's another. Can I show you another way? And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, show me another way. So nothing was attacking. Everything was positive. Really well done. Can I show you another way to do something? And they said, sure. And I showed them with the green or the pink or the blue. And then after we did that, then they would write it in it again to make it pretty for the tooth fairy. And then put that letter, staple it together, put it with the tooth and put it under their pillow.
Wow.
And the letter would ask for some version of money. And if they didn't have, say, dear tooth fairy, if you run out of money, can I have a chocolate bar? Because I always had chocolate at home, which from a medical standpoint, there's medicinal benefits to it. I think it's antioxidants or something. There's something in milk chocolate that's good for you, or dark chocolate. And it also washes off your teeth nicely. So in terms of the candy department, chocolate's the good one.
Yeah.
So that was a PR practice that we started employing in first grade to hone the writing skills. And then we continued with every traditional rite of passage, whether it's, in Israel, in the Jewish faith, we have something called the bar mitzvah and the bat mitzvah.
Mm-hmm.
We have to give a presentation. So same exercise.
Yeah.
Now, when they got older, anything was game, including their text messages. when my kids write to me and the English is bad on the text message, I think to myself, is that an autocorrect or did they just like forget their English? So I said, can you please
Yeah.
write me back and just correct the English, please, just so that I can exhale? And then they write me back. So everything's game. Everything for me is a writing assignment.
Wow. So for me, like what I heard when you said teaching them to write the letter to the tooth fairy, it's not only teaching them to write and communicate, it's teaching them to collaborate with you on feedback. And the most important thing that I can imagine that would have given me as a young girl is asking for something I want.
Yes.
Asking for something. How do we ask people for what we want? How do we ask for raises? How do we ask for a promotion? How do we ask for a date? How do we ask someone to be our friend? We aren't taught these skills as young kids. We just are taught, like you said, that rite of passage. You put your tooth, you get the thing. Well, that's not how life works, honey. You got to ask for that stuff you want. You better be opening your mouth or pulling out a pen and paper and asking for that. So how valuable. Wow. My mind's blown.
Really, thank you. This practice really instilled an enormous amount of confidence in my kids to be able to go up to the bat, make the request.
Yeah.
It instilled self-esteem, it instilled confidence. They understood that there's no such thing as the perfect first draft.
Right.
So, which is resilience, right? Because they
Mhm.
understood that the first draft was the first draft, and now let's improve it to get it to the point where we want it to be.
Mhm.
You know, all those things. So yeah, it's a really, really wonderful exercise that we literally continue until today.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, so writing and communication, that's obviously a huge pillar of PR. What's something else that you taught them? That's another PR concept that we might not know.
I taught them how to celebrate likenesses and commonalities as well as diversity.
Okay.
Because it's a big world out there. And in international public relations, we're constantly dealing with people in all sorts of different countries, different backgrounds, different cultures. And when you write a press release, as an example, and you put it out in English, that's one way of delivering the message. When you send that same information to Italy or Japan or France or Brazil, then you need to translate it. And those same words may not be received the same way. So you need to adjust it for the local flavor, which means that there's all sorts of different people with all sorts of different backgrounds and ways of approaching the same situation. And what I try to do with my children, whether with a passport and taking them to different places to be able to experience different cultures, I also made an effort to take them places just in our own backyard, or invite people from abroad who happen to be in town, you know, from my business. I have friends from all over the world, and whenever they come to Israel, they're always invited to our house, and they might come over and do the cooking, and then we get to enjoy cuisine from another country and from another background, which is really cool.
Wow.
And they also learn about the culture of that person. So by understanding that this world is made up of all sorts of different types of people, so we find what we have in common. Generally speaking, it's family and love of profession and wanting to do well and be successful, and health and those kind of things, and music. And we always seem to have friends who like to dance. And then there are the differences. And we go, oh, how cool is that? Tell me more about that. So we learn to enjoy both the commonalities as well as the differences. And because of that, it helps my children to be part of the solution rather than the problem of prejudice.
That's so good. Yeah.
So that's a very big international public relations, if you will, diplomacy type lesson that we've learned at home, and that I really hope that my children will pay forward to their children someday. And hopefully that's the beginning. That's how you establish peace ultimately, is by assuming peaceful interaction with people from other places. As long as the interaction is peaceful, then hopefully that will pay it forward and we can really achieve peace sometime in the future.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I grew up in Oklahoma in the south central area of the United States, which is, very non-diverse, I would say. Well, when I was a child, it was very non-diverse. And we didn't travel much. So it wasn't until really adulthood that I started to truly understand those concepts of everything is not like the way things are is not the way things are. Those are the way things are where I am only. So exposing our children to those kind of concepts so much earlier on, I can see infinite value in that. Oh man.
And it's fun too.
Pause. Sorry. Yeah, and it's fun. So how can someone expose their children to that? And maybe if they're not in the opportunity, they're not in a place where they can travel to different countries, what are some ways that we can begin to expose our kids to those concepts without having to go to that place?
Sure. Well, think about sports events, think about artistic events. If a dance troupe is coming to town, or a sports event is coming to town, or someone in your circles is having some sort of a party for a rite of passage, or colleagues come from different countries, invite them to come home, have dinner, and tell your children about their countries. There's always somebody out there who's from somewhere else. And what's nice is to be accepting and understand that they have an interest in making friends and being part of the community, but also maintaining their culture. So it's always nice when you can invite them to share that culture. And I would assume that they would be receptive to that as well. And, religiously speaking, I mean, there's all sorts of rites of passage and traditions and parties that are associated. So if your child's invited to one of those, encourage them to go and attend, to enjoy, but also to learn.
Yeah, just to be open and understands the way other people do things. That's awesome. So the book's coming out in April. Yesterday, we can go and buy it. Do you offer a way to work with you one-on-one for parents that may want additional help?
Short answer, yes. I am starting a program at the end of May on Wednesdays. I believe the first class will be May 24th, 12 to 2 Eastern time, which is the equivalent of 7 to 9 my time. So I want to be coherent for everybody. And then this way we can deep dive into all of the lessons and techniques addressed in the book, but then also take those and get into whatever your situation is and help you to plan and get your action items and how to address things and any kind of questions that you would like. Amy, I've worked with CEOs all over the world, and I've worked with world leaders back when I was working for the Israeli government. So it is absolutely my honor and my privilege to be working with the next generation of working moms, because ladies, and I'll count the guys in there too if they want to be counted, dads, we're all bringing up the most important job. What we're all doing is bringing up the next generation of contributing citizens. There's no more important job than that. So as far as I'm concerned, what you're doing is stellar, and I want to be here to support you based on my experience and expertise and help you to have that 20/20 hindsight, so you don't have to make the same hiccups, but you can emulate the same successes and take that and use your own superpowers to help those kids at home do their thing, be their best, and best can be defined any way you want it to be. It can be success. Listen, Amy, success can be anything from getting good grades to doing well at your sports event or your artistic event to not burning the toast that morning.
That's right. Yeah. So the guests are obviously going to go buy the book. Some of them are going to come and work with you. What is one takeaway? If you could tell the young mothers listening right now who are feeling that stress, wanting to do the best job they can in business and in their personal lives and with their kids, what's that one thing that you feel like most women really need to just lock on to and remember?
Take care of you first. The more chilled out and happy you are, the happier your kids will be. And one of the things we do in the book is give you an opportunity to look at time differently. And in 20 seconds or less, you can instill confidence into your kids and take a deep breath. All it takes is a hug.
Of yourself.
Of yourself
And then
of your children. And of your children. Give them a wink, give them a smile, give them a hug. It takes a matter of seconds, and it breathes that kind of positivity to them, to you, that will charge you up for that next step, whatever that might be, to keep you happy, to keep the kids happy. Happy mommy, happy kids, happy mommy. So take care of you, whatever that means.
And that's not just a bath, ladies, or getting your nails done. That is truly finding that place where you can love yourself, have compassion for your younger self, have compassion for the mistakes you've made and the things you've learned through the years that have made you where you are today. That's the only way we can love those kids, is when we get back to us and loving us first. 100%.
I'll tell you what I did before I got onto this call, and what I do whenever I get really stressed out. I jam. I rock it out. A little Anastasia, a little bit of Cardi and Bruno before I got on, because, you know, I wanted to get out any kind of nervous energy. It's actually a technique I use in media training. Every single one of my clients rocks out before they go on.
Nice. Put on that theme song, that theme music. Get moving. That's what I'm talking about. That's right up my alley. I love it. So we can buy the book on Amazon. Tell us where we can connect with you if they want, if the guests want to come and get some of that one-on-one coaching, group coaching, connect with you. Where's the best place to find you?
Thank you. My book portal, which will have the program there and anything book related and program related and coaching related, is PR4.life. And 4 is spelled out FOR. So PRFOR.life. And you can reach me at Marjie, MARJIE, J like Japan, IE, at PR4.life. And everyone is invited to write to me. And I invite you to join the community, which you can do if you go on. And you also get a free download too of my top 10 PR pro tips for planning the perfect party. That's just my little gift to you. And you get to join the community. And that way we always have a connection together, and you'll have updates for whatever's going on. And it's all very exciting. And I genuinely look forward to working with all the moms and helping out as best as I can. And no question's a stupid question. Bring it on, ladies. Been there, seen it, and done it. Okay, I've been in all those movies. Can't scare me. Let me hear what's going on, and let's figure it out together.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much, Marjie, for being my guest and for being a queen that leads.
Thank you so much. All the best to you, and all the best to all the ladies out there.
Awesome. Great job. Thank you. Wow, that's incredible. Oh man, I feel like we could talk for 10 hours about your history and experience. And I'm just so enamored.
I hope that was okay. Was that
it was wonderful. It was great. Yeah. Have you been booking yourself on more and more podcasts to promote the book?
That's the goal. Yes. So if you have
Awesome.
any friends who are also doing podcasts, feel free. Bring them
Yeah,
my way.
for sure. I do. I have several. So absolutely can hook you up with some of those. There's a couple of Facebook groups for podcasting as well. I don't know if you've been introduced to any of those, but you can go, there's one called Find a Guest, Need a Guest, that you can go in and there's lots of people asking for guests versus you requesting to be a guest. And so that's a good resource. We will send over to you on the 5th. You'll get an email that has a reel and a reel cover, and also a couple of graphics that you can use as a carousel, either on your website or on your socials, whatever you need. So I'm here to support you. I'm excited about that. This is awesome. This is such a great concept. I love that you're taking your work experience and life experience and serving others with that, because it's tough. We don't know what to do all the time.
Oh, you know what? It is so hard. None of them come with instructions. I'm on chapter 2 of this, how do you PR parenting the next generation, Yeah. And, because my kids are, they're adults now. And well, you know, it
Yeah.
changes, the dynamic changes, you know.
Oh,
I'll tell
yes.
you something funny. One of my youngest daughter, she's just turned 18. And we were having an interaction. She says, Mom, don't PR parent me.
She's like, I
I'm
already
like,
know
well,
your
you
tricks, lady.
what was funny was I'm like, I'm glad it's a thing. You know, she was using the buzz term.
Yeah. You're like, ha. Even you're catching on to my trend, my craze.
Yeah, it was
I
really
love
funny.
it.
I think you're terrific. You have a wonderful interviewing presence. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm only like, you're the 46th episode I've recorded ever. So, and I think we've launched 30 today. We launched number 34. So we
Oh,
are,
wow.
yeah, very new to this. But we're figuring it out, right? Imperfect action. That's what it takes.
You're doing beautifully, lovely background. Is this background okay?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Okay, and there was enough light because I have a light over here. It's the first time I've used the light.
Yeah, it looks great. Tell me about your book experience. Like, what's it been like? What's your publisher and that book experience been like? Because that's one of my next steps, I think, getting a lot into public
Oh,
speaking, in public speaking and teaching and these kind of things. So I'm just like very curious about your book experience.
okay. So if the company's called Thought Leader Academy
Mm-hmm.
and or TLA, that's the short. It's run by a woman called Sarah Cannell.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is you have a consultation, and then if you decide that this is something that you want to do, then you hire them, and then they give you a developmental editor, which you're going to have to get anyway. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because there's got to be somebody there. There's like what we're talking about in the Zoom. There's no such thing as the perfect first draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even once you figure out formula, okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's two formulas for writing a chapter if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing nonfiction, and then there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole nother thing if you're doing fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I had this young woman, working mom, actually, she's the one with the 4-year-old who was telling me what she wanted to know.
Uh-huh.
And she was really great because I swear to you, I wrote twice as much as made it into the book. She'd
Yeah.
be like, no, it doesn't fit. Take this big thing and squeeze it and just give it to me in a paragraph. Okay, in this spot, you want to stop and tell me what you were thinking here. Like, she really helps to mold you and get your brain. So like, I would do a first draft just to download, and then she would read it and pick it apart, and then I would do what she told me to do. And usually the second draft was okay, and then it was just tweaking from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I finished with her, which took it was about a 6-month process.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then there's the beta readers
Okay.
who go through your book, and
Mm-hmm.
I had 15 beta readers, Amy, and every single one of them had looked at it in a different way. It's
Nice.
fascinating,
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating. And the
Yeah.
thing is, you can't get married to your copy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just because you like a line doesn't mean it's going to stay. There was one
Yeah.
of my favorite lines. I had to like reorganize it. There was a section that I actually took out because of the beta readers, because I was telling a story of how I say I'm a nice person, but I'm not a marshmallow. And then 2 of my beta readers said, who cares? This is not about you. It's about the kids and about the parents. And I said, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Take the ego and put it over there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That
I
death of
literally got
ego
rid
thing
of
is
it.
tough.
You know what? When you've been in the business as long as you and I have been in, who cares if somebody wants to get rid of something? You know,
Yeah.
whatever. Just
Yeah.
approve it already.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Did
so
she
we can
use a
move it
big
out the
red
door.
pen? I just thought, was it red?
No. She it was always marked in something else. I said, do not use red because you'll just piss me off.
Right.
To this day, I hate red pens. I don't edit in red either.
Yeah.
Unless I just really wanted to like stick out for something. And I say, I'm editing red just so that you can see it. This is not a 5-alarm fire, you know, so I preface it. And then I decided to go with Muse Literary. That's the name of the publisher.
The
It's a
publisher.
traditional, it's a small independent traditional publisher out of Chicago,
Mhm.
because they give you all sorts of stuff that the other publishers didn't.
Mm.
There's a hybrid thing going on with all sorts of pricing. There's also self-publishing. I didn't want to do that because, at this point, I don't really care how you typeset something, and I don't
Mhm.
care how you make the cover. I just want it done. I
Yeah.
work on teams of people internationally. I assign these jobs in my professional job.
Yeah.
Why would I
Right.
want to start with it now?
Right.
No, just no,
Yeah.
it's not my thing. Just, like even like with the book cover. Let the art people do their thing, and I'll let
Right.
you know when I like it,
Exactly. Mhm.
And then, so with Muse, they have a situation where you get to approve the final everything, which I
Mhm.
liked. And it was actually a prerequisite for me with joining, for choosing a publisher, because
Mhm.
all the stories are about my kids and I wanted them to have final say, and I
Yeah.
wanted to have final say.
Mhm.
I mean, there's others, there's Scribe, which is like, a last check was $24,000, but it probably went up. And then there's a place called Page Two, which another set of people from the traditional publishing world that created a hybrid.
Mhm.
And what's nice about Muse is that they're a traditional, they have a hybrid section, but they function in a traditional way.
Mhm.
And you get back from them more than you actually give. Like the services are just really, really great.
Nice.
So that's why I decided to go with them. But because I'm a public relations person, I needed to start my pre-promotion when I felt comfortable, not when the publisher felt comfortable.
Mhm. Yeah, I was going to ask if you pre-sold on Amazon. Can I buy the
Um,
pre-sale now?
It's not available yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know, between you and me, I don't even know the pre-sale date. I'm waiting to find that out. I'm
That's funny.
hoping that by the beginning of February, there'll be a pre-sale that
Mhm.
will count towards my April 4th sales.
Yeah.
Because the April 4th is the day that determines whether, like, the number one best-selling kind of thing.
Mhm. Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That's what some of my colleagues have been, several in the process of writing a book, and the publishing company they're using is doing the cover artwork first and pre-selling on Amazon before it's ever written, actually, so that they are already Amazon bestsellers. Now, it costs less to become an Amazon bestseller than like New York Times or something else, but they can do it for any one of those. It's a different payment structure, but they do that pre-sale way before you even write it. And I'm like, I don't know, that seems like a lot of pressure.
that's scary.
I know.
Yeah, my actual, I just approved now that are we still recording?
Yeah, but this will be all cut off. Our conversation ended at the end of this is not on the podcast. This is just me and you. Yeah.
I was gonna give you a sneak preview of my cover,
Oh, sure.
but I'd rather you not be recording, if that's okay.
Oh, I don't know how to, let me see if I can stop that.
At the top, just
Can I
say
stop
stop.
recording? Oh. Huh. I don't know how to make it stop.
Am I too dark in this picture? My light was okay. I wasn't too dark.
No, I think you were good.
Okay.
Recording. There's recording. Okay. It still says recording. I don't know how to stop it.
On the top. On the left, on my left screen, I see recording. You just
yeah, I'm clicking it, but it doesn't stop from, I don't know.
Okay, well. No worries.
Sorry, no worries. No worries. You don't have to show me.
The book and the book will all be put together probably next week, because I just approved the cover, and I'm just waiting for the last set of changes to be set in the book itself.
Heck
the
yeah.
last tweaks. I'm type A with the PR background, so everything has to be just the way
Yes.
your marketing,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I already
If
know.
there's a comma out of place, you get upset, right?
Yes. Oh
So I
gosh. Yes.
handed in my my big thing, you're gonna laugh at this. Dashes, hyphens versus an M
Mm-hmm.
dash.
Mm-hmm.
I made the typesetter crazy
I
because on my
bet.
keyboard, I have a hyphen. I don't know how to make an N dash with my keyboard.
Yeah.
I just figured they'd figure it out. And then they're like, but
Yeah.
they put all the hyphens and they're like, no, I mean, that's how type A I am,
Yes.
So,
It's
so it all has,
core, it's like
pardon me?
it's core. It's like regional vernacular, you say, some people use dashes, some people use ellipses, other people, it's like whatever you're used to. It's so funny.
And does the comma go in the quote or outside the quote if it's not a quote? So I went with the British system and I put my comma outside of the quotation marks unless it's an actual quote.
Yes.
So that's my function. And then the line editor wanted to put all the commas inside the quote, and it just felt like fingernails down a chalkboard for me. So like, I might be crazy, but I'm doing it the European way. That's the way we're doing it.
I still can't stop with the old MLS and doing double spacing after periods because because two spaces go after a period. Dang it.
Yes. Oh my God, you're so funny. Yes.
Right. I know. Like all these papers I wrote in college, like would be graded as Fs now. Are you kidding me? That's the system I was used to.
Amy, have you seen the map today?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Nope. Can't figure it out.
Like, mommy, can I have help?
No, you can't. Not for me. Let me find you someone under 30, maybe. I don't know.
But if I need help with anything electronic, I always go to my teenager and she always fixes it. Anything for, I don't know, one of my daughters did something for me so that I said, I wanted to cut, I'm going to take whatever you do with the interview and I'll probably make it into sound bites if that's okay with you to put up on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Of course.
I know how to edit, but I didn't know how to access the actual content. So my daughter, number 20, so my son is a computer scientist and statistician. Nice. And he's working for a global high-tech firm.
How cool.
Number 2, my daughter is in medical school.
Wow.
In Prague, actually.
Wow. How cool. That's awesome.
And number 3 is graduating high school and goes into the military in the summer because in Israel, military is mandatory.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They all do 2 years or a year? 2
years, 8 months.
Wow. That's incredible.
So military.
Did your other kids do that? I mean, were you living there? Yeah. You've been living there the whole time.
We've been living, we live in Israel and the United States, but like the scholastic year would be here.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What was their experience with that? I mean, do you think it's a positive?
Growing up in 2 countries?
No, I mean, their military, the mandatory military service.
Military was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they grew up,
Yeah.
And they learned respect.
Yeah. Sometimes it just takes that outside person, right?
Well, and just they learned a lot of teamwork in the military.
Yeah. So much cooperation.
It's like you don't itemize who did what in the military. Everybody just pitches in if they see something that needs to be done, as opposed to at home. Well, I already did the dishes, so why do I have to do them again?
I washed my dish.
Yeah, I washed my dish, but by the way, it's in the sink. It never quite made it to the dishwasher. Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
that machine over there, there's no magic to putting it in there.
Yeah, no. That's so funny. Well, I can't wait to read the book. I'll be buying it, of course, the day it comes out. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. If there's ever anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to stay connected with you and hear more about how things are going. Like your experience is so vast.
Amy, symbiotic. You and I are friends now. I have mutual respect and admiration for you. So really just call anytime. You have my telephone numbers. I'll send you, do you need me to send you links or anything like that?
You might just go ahead and yeah, you might go ahead and send me whatever whatever headshot, unless I can use the one on the MCHPR. You've
No,
got one
don't.
there. If you have a better one you
No,
want to use,
no,
send that to
yeah.
me. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Send me that, because we'll put your face all over the reel covers and all, and the YouTube. And I'll actually send you this raw video that we just finished so that your son or whoever can edit it however you like as well for your own purposes. And then the day the podcast launches will be on YouTube with the full transcript, and then also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a couple of others.
Oh, that's fantastic. First of all, thank you. Tell everybody you
Absolutely.
know about the book and about the program.
Definitely.
So, so that we can help, that
Yeah,
would be great.
absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Best of luck and have a great rest of the
Thanks.
week.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.